Okay, so hey guys, today we're going to be using a hair tong. I'm going to show you how to tong hair, get a nice kind of loose wave. It's kind of on a shorter bob kind of cut hair, but and anything that I say is pretty much going to be transferable to longer hairstyles as well. So although this is short, it will be transferable, apart from the obvious bits where I'm talking about certain short sections, it's going to be transferable. So yeah, although this is a short style, anything that I'm going to kind of throw out as tips, they should be it should be useful for long hair too. Okay, so first of all, I'm just sectioning here, as you can see, the two sides separate from the back, because I'm going to work the back section first, and then I'm going to work through both sides, and finally through the fringe. This bottom section of the back around the nape area, it's difficult obviously to tong because it's so short, so you don't have to worry too much. All you're trying to do here is just give it a little curl and give it some volume, give it some lift, just to help support, so don't worry too much. Okay, so pretty much the single most important tip when you're tonging hair is to divide the head into two sections straight down the center line, so you have a right hand side of the head and a left hand side of the head. And then as you can see here, you curl the hair on the right hand side of the head clockwise, and you curl the hair on the left hand side of the head anti-clockwise. Now you do want to change that up, you want to break it up a little bit, so that not all the hair on the right is going clockwise and not all the hair on the left is going anti-clockwise. But importantly, down both the sections, down the center line on the back of the head, and also some sections later which I'll get to, you have to follow this rule, or it's important to follow this rule. And the reason for that is it will give it a nice round shape, because if you put all your curls randomly, you'll end up with a kind of squarer, kind of quite random shape. Whereas if you keep to this concept of curling the hair on the right hand side clockwise and the hair on the left hand side anti-clockwise, then the curls will be basically facing each other, and so especially on the back of the head, it will create a nice round shape. Usually, if you want to have a number to it, you can say it's 2 to 1. So for every 2 curls on the clockwise, you put 1 in the anti-clockwise, and vice versa for the left-hand side. But you don't have to do it so much. Today, as you'll see if you follow the video, I will be doing much less like that. It's more or less I'm doing almost every single curl. Will be clockwise on the right hand side and anti-clockwise on the left hand side, and I just throw a few in. Yeah, so that's pretty much the most important tip when you're tonging hair. Now today I'm not going for too much root lift. I want it to be a quite like loose shape. So as you can see there, I'm not really going too close to the root with the tong. If you want to go closer to the root, a good tip is to put your comb in between the tong and the scalp, and that way you don't burn the scalp of the head with the tong, because it's protected by the comb. But today I'm not going too close to the root, and by keeping sort of the distance I am from the root, which is about sort of an inch away from the root, you're not getting too much lift, and it's sort of keeping a looser shape. And the other way to keep a loose shape, as you can see, every time I remove the hair from the tong, I just sort of pull it with my fingers whilst it's still hot and place it. Place the curl where you want it, sometimes stretch it out a little, and that just helps keep it a kind of loose wave as opposed to a strong curl. You want to do this whilst it's still hot, so straight away take the tong away and then just kind of place it with your hands. Now we're going to work on the side. The principle is exactly the same. As you can see, the very first section that you take, you want to curl that. If you're on the right hand side, you want to curl it clockwise. If you're on the left hand side, you want to curl anti-clockwise. The reason for that is you want the hair to curl into the back section so that there's no obvious lines. It will blend the lines of the sections. And again, the most important areas to follow this clockwise and anti-clockwise rule is face sections, so the sections closest to the face, so that way the hair curls away from the face, and on the center line in the back, so that you create a round shape. Section wise, you take them, the size of the sections will dictate the kind of how it will appear at the end. I'm taking sort of 1.5 inch squares sort of sections, sometimes a little bit larger, but generally kind of about the same width, same size as the tong. So sections about the same size as the tong itself. It is quite important to keep clean sections, just to help with the kind of neatness of the final look and the shape of the final look. But that depends on how random you want it to be. If you want quite a random, crazy shape, then obviously your sections, you can take them a little bit wilder and a little bit less strict. In this case, say my sections are kind of 50-50. They're quite strict sometimes, but in other ways. For example, I'll take the horizontal line quite strictly, and I'll divide that section up kind of randomly. As you approach the top of the head here, I'll start curling back. As you can see, the direction of the curl is straight back. That's to help give a little bit of volume in that kind of crown area of the head, coming over the crown and into the back of the hair. Again, there's the face section. See, I curl it clockwise on this right hand side, and that's to keep it so the curl comes away from the face. So that's probably one of the most important tips. And now again, as we're working over the crown section, that's going straight back, so the curl goes straight back. That's to help give that kind of lift in the crown area. Now we're going to start working on the left-hand side section. You'll notice that the majority of my curls will be going anti-clockwise for this section. That's the opposite. On the right-hand section, the majority of the curls were clockwise. On the left-hand side, the majority of the curls are going to be anti-clockwise. That's to help keep that shape that I was saying, and I've repeated it a few times now, it's the most important part about tonging. It just helps keep a good shape for the final outcome. It'll keep it nice and rounded. As you can see there, I just rather than use the tong to round up the hair, I just wrap the hair around the tong. That's another way of doing it, especially with the kind of small kind of section that I had there. That will give a looser curl, and you can sort of throw that in here and there if you want to have kind of longer, kind of looser, more kind of I want to say dangly areas, but sections that kind of fall away a little bit looser than the rest. You can use that technique, which is just to wrap it around the tong rather than use the tong to roll the hair up. The video cuts it off here unfortunately, but I'm just running through the crown area there and just directing some of the curls straight back, just to go over the crown and get that kind of lift in the back. And now we're going to work on the fringe section. I'm actually going to use a straightening iron to do this. You could do it with the tong, but I'm going to use it with a straightening iron. If you use a tong, you just, rather than curl it, just run it through the fringe very quickly. Just to get that kind of bevel. Here I'm going to use straightening irons, and by doing that you just clamp the irons over and just sort of curl them in your hands, kind of make a C shape. Once you've clamped the hair down, just put it into a C shape. And I'm going to take the fringe in 3 sections, just rather than take large sections. And that's it once it's done, really. One thing to point out is that at this point you'd probably put product on it, a bit of hairspray, and dress it through, maybe pull it up, give it a bit of lift. However, my model today was purely doing this for my benefit for the YouTube, so she was going to wash it out straight away, so I didn't bother with product. But what you'd probably do here would be pop a little bit of hairspray on it, lift it up, give it a little bit of root lift, and just sort of dress it through with your fingers where you want it, and position it where you want it. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much tonging hair. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos, and yeah, cheers.